Hey guys, my name is Yasmina and welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'm going to do a spoiler-free review of Ship of Magic by Robin Hobb, which is the first book in now one of my favorite epic fantasy series. So Robin Hobb, I've read the Farseer trilogy by Robin Hobb, so the first Fitz and the Fool books, Assassin's Apprentice, Assassin's Quest, and another one that I completely forgot about. Anyway, I love those books. It's one of my favorite series. I mentioned it multiple times in favorites videos. The way Robin Hobb organizes this series is actually the Liveship Traders series, which is what this first book is part of, actually comes after the first Fitz and the Fool. So the first three Farseer trilogy books, then you can read this series, and then the rest of the series follow Fitz and the Fool again, and they're kind of split into three parts each, so every part of the series is 3 books. I'm very good at explaining things. Anyway, the thing is, you don't have to have read Fitz and the Fool or the Farseer trilogy to read this, although it takes place in the same world, just in a different part of the world. It does not follow the same characters, but you do get hints of stuff that happened in the Farseer trilogy or after the Farseer trilogy, but it's not at all essential that you've read any of those other books to read this, so I think it's a very good sort of standalone trilogy that you can read if you want a taste for Robin Hobb, but you don't want to embark on the great long journey that is the Fitz and the Fool series that I'm still yet to continue. I still have to read the rest of the books, but obviously I now want to finish this trilogy first before I move on to the other Fitz and the Fool books. So yes, I love this. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. It's one of my new favorite epic fantasy series and I would highly recommend it, but let's talk a bit more in depth on why this book is so great, but obviously without spoilers. So this series follows the Vestrid family, who are a family of traders in this world, and it's basically a family saga, this book. We follow a multiple point of view narrative of the different members of this Vestrid family. It's definitely a more slow, quiet, epic fantasy series, at least this first book is. It's not as action-packed as the Fitz and the Fool series was. It's definitely a lot more slow-paced and we really get deep inside these characters' experiences and lives, but I think that's what was really great about it, because even though it's a very long book and it's kind of slow, I still enjoyed every minute of it. So one of the magic systems in this world, or specifically the one that is focused on in this particular series, is about the live ships. Now a live ship is a ship made of wizard wood, which is a magical type of wood, of course, and that means that if one of these ships is in the possession of a specific family for 3 generations, and those 3 generations die on board of the ship, the figurehead on top of the ship or in front of the ship comes alive after 3 generations of the same family have died on its board. So the figurehead becomes a completely alive person, pretty much, that sits on the front of the ship and controls the ship. You can talk to it. It also absorbs the personality and the memories of the people who have died on board of it, and it pretty much becomes another member of the family. And the important part is that these live ships are kept in the family because they are very tied. They're literally tied to the blood of this family. And if for some reason they get separated by the family that owns them, they kind of tend to go mad or go haywire and start killing people on its board and all sorts of other crazy things. And so at the beginning of the book, the live ship called Vivacia, I have no idea how to say it, of the Vestrid family is about to quicken, which means the father of the family is dying and he will die on board of the ship, which is the last thing required for the live ship to come to life. And so this happens and the figurehead comes to life, and then a bunch of other things start going down, which I'm not going to go into because they're a bit spoilery. But after that we follow different perspectives of the Vestrid family, and primarily the children, mostly Wintro and Althea, who I think are the more interesting characters in my opinion. They're the ones I really fell in love with and their journeys, and I think both of them are fantastic, and I really am curious what they'll do in the future in the series, so I'm really looking forward to reading the other 2 books in the series. Wintro is a boy kind of stuck between 2 destinies, the one that he thinks he's meant to be and the one his father wants him to be. Althea is an amazing character. Her destiny is kind of snatched from her in the beginning of the book. I'm not gonna spoil it, and then she kind of goes on a redemption arc for that destiny, and I think her perspective was my favorite, and then Wintro's. And then we follow some of the other heads of the family, like the grandmother and the mother of these 2 children, and then there's also Brashen, who is one of the captains on the Vivacia, who also has his own arc, and some of the things he does is a bit questionable, I'm not gonna lie, but yeah, those I think are the most memorable characters for me. And of course Paragon, who is a mad ship. He's a ship that has lost his original family and has been through different people who have tried to own him, but as I said, live ships don't like that very much, and so he's stuck at the shore and no one really wants him, no one really knows what to do with him, but he's like always there, and he is a fantastic character. And then there's also these sections in the beginning of the parts where we follow the serpents, who are these creatures that sometimes attack live ships, and we actually follow from their perspective, and those sections were a bit weird and I'm still not entirely sure what the purpose of that was. I think we will find out more in the other books in the series, maybe. I'm sure they're important, otherwise they wouldn't have been there, but that was a bit strange, those chapters, from the perspective of these sea serpents. But there's some fantastic world building in this series, again with the live ship, and also a lot of the themes focus on pirates and slavery and the consequences of slavery, and if it's a good or a bad thing. It kind of discusses a lot of important points like that through the means of this fantasy world full of pirates and live ships and normal ships, and there's definitely a lot of more exciting things happening at the end of the book. The middle is rather slow and the beginning is kind of quick because of everything that happens at first to kind of set up the plot, and then we follow the Vestrid family for a long kind of slog where not that much happens, but it's still very interesting. It's hard to explain. It's very interesting, trust me. And then at the end, things ramp up and we get a lot of action right at the end. But yes, I think that's all I'm gonna go into, because otherwise I'll start going into spoilers, and I really want you guys to pick this up and experience it for yourself, because it is quite a long book, but it's absolutely worth it. I loved it. If you like the theme of sort of the open seas and pirates and a big family saga, then I think this is wonderful. I think this would actually be really cool as a TV show, like a TV drama. Instead of a movie, I think it has potential to be like a TV drama following this family. I have no idea if any of that is in the works, but I think this would work great as something like that. But that was my short spoiler-free review of Ship of Magic. One of my favorite books now, definitely one of the best books that I've read this year, and I think it's gonna be close to the top of my top books I've read in 2020. There's still some time left, but right now it's very much near the top. So we'll see if anything comes that is better. I doubt it, but we'll see. So obviously I highly recommend you check out this series, and let me know if you've read it or if you've read any of Robin Hobb's books before and what you thought of them. I will of course leave a link to the book down in the description, so do check it out if you're interested in picking it up. And yeah, that was it from me today, guys. Hope you have a great day and I'll see you next time. Bye!